everybody, and welcome back to the end. We are still going through cards, and let's hop on our supersonic mega jet bicycles and start with Lesser Onyx Spellstone. I honestly had no idea where we were going with that, by the way. But Lesser Onyx Spellstone, it's the Rogue Spellstone. It's a 5 cost spell. Destroy 1 random enemy minion. You play 3 Death Rattle cards to upgrade it. It upgrades to Onyx Spellstone, which can destroy up to 2 random enemy minions, and then fully upgraded, you can destroy up to 3 random enemy minions. So by itself, it's actually worse than Assassinate, which costs 5 already, because that one you can at least choose what you want to kill. This one will be random. But it gets better as you upgrade it, to where I think fully upgraded, it's amazing. The deal is that it costs 3 Death Rattle cards, which that's playing 3 Death Rattle cards in a turn to upgrade. So most rogue decks just will not be able to do this. You're not going to like get rid of Spine or run this in addition with Spine in every rogue deck. Even for its minimum value, it's not worth it. You just rather just run the Spine, because if you're going to just run something else plus the Spine, you run Assassinate. And no one's running Assassinate, let's just be honest. So, basically, if you're running a Death Rattle Rogue, like at least whether it's a Jade Rogue or a Death Rattle Centric Rogue deck, you play this card. Because I think in those type of decks, I do think that the effect is actually very good, especially fully powered up. This is a good way to get to pretty much clear off a pesky board of bigger things. And you're pretty much fully powered up. You're more likely to hit what you want to hit and do what you want to do. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth it. So it's going to depend on what decks are being played. Jade Rogue might make a run for it with some of the tools that Rogue has gotten, but otherwise, I don't think this deck gets played in Standard. However, I do think it will be played in Wild, again, depending on the deck. I do have some deck ideas in mind that would play this deck. I do Death Rattle Rogue in Wild is, I think, a pretty strong deck, because it's working off of the deck's strength when it was in Standard, and so I think that those type of decks will run this card. So in those occasions, it will be powerful.
I can agree. If anything, like I like the effect. It makes it where you have to build around it. So it's just like, you know what? More power to people who find a way to make the Lesser Onyx Spellstone work. So it's just like, you know what? I see it as playable. But after that, it's like, oh boy. Twilight's Call. 3 cost. Priest rare. Summon 1/1 copies of 2 friendly Death Rattle minions that died this game. So, one deck immediately comes to mind, and that's if you're trying to play Amara Priest. Like, that's your #1 go-to, hey, I need friendly Death Rattle stuff, come alive, boom. I also like the idea of Big Priest, because for me, it's, oh hey look, I get 2 of the Obsidian statues, and then if I want to, I can start running N'Zoth in the deck and just get a whole board full of Obsidian statues. Ball of kicking this in your direction.
Yeah, definitely I think this is a card that's meant for Quest Priest, and I'm just looking at it going, Awaken Rizakis wants you. So yeah, I will be using it. But again, this is going to be a very specialized card, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that in those situations, it's good, but you're not going to run them in any other situation anyway. So yeah, Death Rattle Priest, definitely going to run it. Does get random Big Priest? Maybe, maybe not. I think that really it's going to make its home in those Death Rattle Priest decks. So next up, we have Dragoncaller Alana. And Dragoncaller Alana is the Mage Legendary. She's a 9-cost 3/3 with the battle cry, summon a 5/5 dragon for each spell you cast this game that costs 5 or more. Now, given that Mage has a lot of really good spells that cost 5 or more, you can probably get a decent-sized board out of this card if you play it at the right point in the game. Again, this is probably going to be a deck you have to think, a card you want to think about whether you put in your deck. You're probably going to build a deck that centers around it. Otherwise, you're not going to put it in there. So essentially, this is a card that you just don't slot in. Like I'm going to put this in here. You think about what you want. You basically think about your deck first, what you have in there, what your end goal is in the deck, and then you put this card in. Now again, Deck of Wonders counts for this because basically it casts itself, so Deck of Wonders can actually help your plan out here. This is also good for Spellstone because you cast it and you get more spells, which means you can go off. So yeah, this will find a home in some decks, but this is not a deck you just slot into any old mage deck. This is going to be a card that you really think about whether you want it into your deck or not, or even maybe build a deck around it. I have some ideas for this card, believe it or not. I actually started coming up with it with those ideas today, so I know one of the decks that we'll be messing around with. Which Eddie, I'm actually going to be making Dragon Mage. I've made up my mind.
You and Stooks both.
I have an idea of what I want to do with it. But yeah, it's a really interesting card. I think it has a neat effect. I think it's one that Mage can probably pull off pretty consistently. And so in those cases, yeah, I think it will give you the swing. I think it's a good card.
I'm looking at this and I'm just like, I don't think it's terrible at all, by any means. I don't think it's meta-defining, that's for damn sure. I do think, though, that it's at least in the playable area. So it's just like, you've hit on the other points that I would hit on, so I can just move myself over to Dragon's Fury. Dragon's Fury is a 5-cost mage spell. Reveal a spell from your deck. Deal damage equal to its cost to all minions. So you're going to want to find your small cost stuff first. Because you don't want to just go and 2 for the cost of 5. I don't think this sees play. And the reason why is because, like, while yes, Mage has the ability to be able to just go, oh, hey, looky here. Look at all these high-cost spells I have. Mage also is the ideal of, well, I need also board to be able to, you know, combo together to just cook and kill my opponent. So, I don't see them running this. Now, Bulb, if anything, I know you can make the argument. Make the argument for it.
I mean, if you're playing a more controlling type deck, this could be good, because you have a high chance of maybe doing massive damage and clearing the board. My issue is that Mage has so many good AoE spells anyway that just have a pretty good chance of clearing the board on their own anyway, that it almost feels like Dragon's Fury is redundant in that regard, and that where those other spells just target your opponent and has a good chance of stalling or otherwise wiping out the board, Dragon's Fury just has the chance of wiping out any board that you have as well. So I'm just looking at this going, would I want to run Dragon's Fury, or would I rather just run all these other AoE spells that Mage has and other removal that Mage has, and just be a little bit more selective about what I kill? Because I can just run, I can just run Meteors and Flame Strike and all those, and yeah, I can run Dragon's Fury or Blizzard, and I can run Dragon's Fury in addition to those. But why, when I can just run those in general and not harm my board at all? I'm not seeing the appeal of this card. It's not like Warrior that didn't really have a good board clear, so that's the way to go. It's not like Dragonfire Potion and Priest where they really didn't have the board clear. Mage has board clears. Mage has really good AoE. they really don't need Dragon's Fury. Dragon's Fury is almost overkill to the point where I think most mages will go, I'll pass and just wait a couple turns. So maybe in a almost strictly control mage deck where you just control the board until you can Alexstrasza and just burst them down, this works. But I just don't think so. Next up, we have Dragonhatcher. Dragonhatcher is a 9-cost 2/4 minion. At the end of your turn, recruit a dragon. Cool. It's severely understated for a 9-cost. And a running theme I'm seeing with recruit, I have to question how useful it is. Because maybe I would just want to play a dragon by this point, because we're in the point of the game where if you have dragons, you're just going to play them if you have them. And most dragons actually have battle cries that you want to use. So Dragonhatcher has a chance of shooting you in the foot, unless you're looking for a very specific dragon, in which case there's a chance that when you get Dragonhatcher, you don't have it, in which case Dragonhatcher is a dead card. It's not good. It's not good. Especially, again, the big point with dragons, and this is the reason why I don't think Deathwing Dragonlord saw as much wide play as it could have, is that most dragons actually have very useful battle cries, and really, if you're playing dragons, you really don't want to skip those unless you have enough of a lead that you just want to close things out. And Dragonhatcher, unlike Deathwing Dragonlords, Dragonhatcher is not going to give that to you, so I don't think it's any good. Especially since in the decks where if you are running a more dragon-focused deck, whether it's in Priest or whether it's in pretty much any dragon-specific deck with synergies, the dragons need to be in your hand to get the synergies off, and Dragonhatcher has a chance of just wrecking those as well. So again, I don't see it.
Trash. Gonna move on to Ironwood Golem. 4 cost, 3/6 taunt. Can only attack if you have 3 or more armor. Easily done in Druid because of the Death Knight. 4 cost Jade Behemoth. Okay. Bob?
All the people going to say this doesn't see play. Guys, this is essentially the same stats as Twilight Guardian getting when it hit the board in Dragon Priest. It's a 4-cost 3/6. Even if it doesn't attack, those are some imposing stat lines that it's going to hold its own at that point in the game. That, and again, like Eddie said, getting 3 or more armor with the tools that Druid has is very easy. Yes, with the standard hero power, you're probably not going to have it right away. But there are so many ways, including stuff like Branching Path, to get armor, and Druid has so many different ways to just get 3 or more armor very easily in a turn, that you should be able to have this thing attack if you really want to. Especially if you have the Druid Legendary, or if you have the Death Knight. And if you have the Death Knight, you just don't attack, you just armor up every single turn, just let this thing attack. I mean, this is very simple to do. The stat line is actually very good. It's just a decent taunt minion. Period. Doesn't matter what stage of the game it comes out on. This is going to see play. Yeah. And this is going to be a powerful taunt card. So yeah, this is a good card.
If anything, we're looking at something like Taunt Druid.
Speaking of, next we have Oaken Summons, which is a 4-cost Druid spell that gives you 6 armor and recruits a minion that costs 4 or less. Oh, hi, Ironwood Golem. Nice to meet you. Yeah, this sees play. A lot of people go, well, this doesn't see play in every Druid deck. You're going to make sure that you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot if you play this card. But you gain 6 armor, and you recruit a minion with 4 or less cost 4 or less to the field, and chances are your Druid they're actually kind of good. So this sees play.
Hey, Bo, what was the cost on that last card we just talked about?
Oh, I think it was like, it cost 4, Eddie? I wonder!
I wonder.
I hunger.
If anything, I personally wonder what you're going to do with Kingsbane. Because it's the one-cost rogue weapon. That with Death Rattle, you shuffle and you keep this in your deck, and it keeps any enchantments. Now, we've seen in the past with some of the stuff that came out in, like, Knights of the Frozen Throne, definitely Knights of the Frozen Throne, where people were like, this is garbage for Rogue. Now we have this little weapon. And if anything, it's good. Like, personally, I would call it a meta-defining weapon. Because you never, almost ever, mill out. Because you keep shuffling it into the deck. And you just keep it. It's a one cost. Go with Valera the Shadow, you can just say, screw it, Kingsbane. Punch my opponent. Drop the other Kingsbane. Hey, looky there, it goes back into the deck. Look, I know I'm going to draw next turn, Kingsbane. Woo! Play. Punch my opponent with the Kingsbane. Woo! Play Kingsbane. Watch it go back into the deck. And just the keeping the enchantments that you get on it. So you can get like Lifesteal and Poisonous and Deadly Poison for like the buff. And it's just like, this thing can get really terrifying really quickly. Bubba.
Oh yeah, this is especially good. Number one, a 1/3 for 1 is just good. Number 2, it shuffles itself in your deck and it keeps any enchantments. And Rogue has a lot of enchantments. So I'm actually right now I'm considering like 1 or 2 options. I might even pursue both of them at one point. Number 1 is create a deck with the whole idea of I'm going to have fun buffing Kingsbane and just see how crazy of a weapon I can create. The other idea is I'm like, well, you know, in my Pirate Rogue deck I play in Wild, I already run like 2 Tinker Sharpsmith oils and 2 Deadly Poisons. I can easily get just a huge Kingsbane and just keep on hitting the opponent in the face. So plus any of the pirates that buff weapons I just happen to be playing. I know I'm playing at least 1 or 2 there. So yeah, this sees play. It's going to be played around. This is going to be a nightmare because again, if you remove it, you just remove it temporarily, and it will come back, and there's nothing to take away those enchantments. So you just got rid of it for a short time. So yeah, this is a meta-defining card. I think definitely can see some rogues potentially playing this, and like especially like more aggressive decks playing this with a few weapon buffing stuff, just so they can just keep on having a weapon that they can just keep on attacking face is guaranteed to come back. So yeah, this will see play. So, next up, we have Crystal Lion. Crystal Lion is a 6-cost 5/5 Paladin minion that has Divine Shield and costs 1 less for each Silver Hand recruit you control. This is incredibly good in a Silver Hand recruit deck. So, if it becomes a thing in Standard, this card will see play, but this card will definitely see play in Wild. It will serve a similar niche to Thing from Below. Just is going to be very, very easy. It's not a permanent. The thing is, it's not a permanent discount, so it's going to be dependent on the dude staying on the board. But in Wild, that's a lot easier to do, and there's already a deck that's kind of built to do that. So Crystal Lion will be able to slot in real easily there. Standard is going to be a bit of a tougher sale, but if people can figure out how to make that work in Standard, Crystal Lion is going to slot into that deck. So it's definitely going to be a playable card.
Yeah. Yeah, if anything for me, I'm looking at this card and I'm just going, where am I going to fit you into that wild side of it of Dude-It-In, because just like that deck is just jam-packed full of stuff. And if anything, Crystal Alliance is like, okay, we gotta be able to go, just kind of like pull this little thing out and listen to it go, no, put me back, and then put the Crystal Lion in. Because on turn 6, if you just decide to just go, you know what, I'm gonna play Stand Against Darkness, and then this, I think that's the card.
It is.
Thank God I got it right. You got a good 6-drop play right there. Because that's 10? That's a 10-10 board. Just, boom. Right there. For 6. So, if anything, Bob's right, this thing is going to see play. Next up, we have Bladed Gauntlet. 2 cost, 0 attack, 2 durability. Warrior weapon has attack equal to your armor. Can't attack heroes. And this is where we stand up and we have a moment of silence for Fiery War Axe, because Fiery War Axe died for this card's sins. And now we look at it and we just go, okay, on turn 1 you could play Ironhide to make it have 5 attack. Turn 2 you play this. Well, I can't attack the heroes, so on this one, Pirate Warrior, it's out. Unless you're playing a really strong Control Warrior, that's about the only place he's playing. So, if anything, Bulb, I'm kicking this ball in your direction.
Yeah, I definitely think Control Warrior, or maybe a more mid-range warrior, could use it, because, especially with Control Warrior, like I said, they have ways to get armor really easily, and this can, again, they're not going to be afraid to use their armor as a resource. So having enough armor, and then essentially equipping this gauntlet to hit something and kill something, and that makes sure that they're covered, that's strong. So I think definitely Control Warrior, this will see play. I think this is a good weapon. So next up, we have To My Side. To My Side is a 6-cost hunter spell that says summon an animal companion, or 2 if your deck has no minions. I think this card is essentially garbage. And the reason why is Hunter is a very aggressive class. It's a very minion-focused class. And the chances of you not having minions in order to get the most out of this spell is slim to none. And if you've gotten to that point in the game where you don't have any minions, you have Call of the Wild, which you just summon all 3 in the first place. And you're not going to play this card just to get 1 animal companion, because that is just an incredible waste of mana. So, I really don't think this card sees any play. I really don't.
Trash, dust it. Moving on. Murmuring Elemental. 2 cost, 1/1 Elemental Battle Cry. Your next Battle Cry this turn triggers twice. Elemental Shaman. I said when Journey to Ungrow came out, it would be a tier 1 deck. I thought it would be right then and there, tier 1. But right now I'm looking at Murmuring Elemental, and then I remember Grumble World Shaker to fill my hand with 1 costs. Depending on what I drop onto my board, or it's like already sitting on my board at the time of play, or whatever, I think Murmuring Elemental can be a busted card if you do it right. Because even though it is a battle cry, for a battle cry, at that point, you're essentially getting Bran on 2. So, I think it sees play. Bob?
Yeah, I think it's pretty strong. The battle cry is actually pretty decent, and Shaman does have the tools to pretty much combo it in the right way, especially with elementals. Those battle cries can be savage, especially because essentially you set it up so that the battle cries activate. Then you play this, and then you play the other whatever other elemental it is, and it activates twice. This can be savage, especially after, like you said, Grumble World Shaker, because you can play Murmuring Elemental, play whichever, you basically just set things up in the right way to just take full advantage and go nuts. I think that Elemental Shaman has the tools now. They could probably build a very solid deck, and it should be very interesting. Depending, I might give Elemental Shaman another go. We will see. But yeah, I do think this is a very strong card. Next up, we have Greedy Sprite. It's a 3-cost, 3/1 Druid minion with the Death Rattle. Gain an empty mana crystal. Nope. Trash. Next.
Really?
Do you think...
Really?
I don't think it's that good. Again, the 3/1 Death Rattle,
I'll make an argument for it. Okay? Because of it having the 1 health.
It's going to be easy to get the empty mana crystal, but...
Yes, you easily gain that empty mana crystal, which...
Yeah, you're right. I forgot my Death Rattle rule, which is you want Death Rattle minions to die. So yeah, you're right. It's actually a lot better.
Ha ha! And not only that, but freaking... When it comes to Druid itself...
To be fair, I've skimmed over a lot of these cards past this point.
That's why I'm just like, hang on, back up, Bob. You need to rub your nose in this one and just think about it.
Bob, wake up!
It's Druid!
Yes.
Druid wants to ramp! So if anything, like, this could go into an aggro Druid deck, because then you have to choose, okay, do I give my opponent that empty mana crystal, or do I eat 3 to face?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is good for the same reason why I thought that Shallow Gravedigger was good, because you want the Death Rattle to go off, and if it doesn't go off, you just hit them in the face. You basically force the issue, and you're right. I'm dumb. I will go put on this dunce cap, and I will sit over here in the corner for the rest of the stream, or the rest of the video.
It's okay. It's okay.
We all do dumb things.
I just mainly made the argument for it being a good card.
Paying too much for Death Rattles doesn't have to be one of them.
Exactly. So if anything, bring yourself back over there from the corner, take off your dunce cap, because we gotta talk about Void Ripper. Void Ripper is a 3-cost, 3/3 demon. It's a neutral demon. Neutral demon, for that matter. That with the battle cry, you swap the attack and health of all other minions. Why is it that I'm seeing... I think it's Confused? Was the priest spell that swapped the attack and health of all of their minions on the board?
It was.
So it's just, I'm seeing this in a minion form now. Interesting. I don't think it sees play, mind you, but it's interesting. Bob, can you give me the argument for the others? Actually, hang on, before you do. I can see where this potentially gets its play. It gets its play in Priest. Because you go Pint-Sized Potion, Void Ripper as a combo. But now I'll kick it to you and go, here. Talk.
I mean, it's the same type of things. If you were one to create decks around like Confused type combos, then that's definitely kind of where you want to go. But other than that, if you don't have a plan for it, then don't run it. This is only going to be ran in decks that actually have a plan for what they want to do with Void Ripper. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to see much play at all.
Okay.
So, next up... Let me find it. I believe it's a Priest. Yep. Next up, we have Twilight Acolyte, which is a 3-cost 2/4 Priest minion with a battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, swap this minion's attack with another minion's. Alrighty. I mean, this could be very powerful, depending on what you use it with, what you swap it with, and when you play it. But in general, I'm just thinking that Dragon Priest especially has a lot of different combos with dragons that you're really not worried about swapping an attack with Twilight Acolyte. I mean, it could see play, but I think that Dragon Priest is going to go, yeah, I have other things I do. I don't really need to do this. So I really don't. Maybe after rotation, it might see some play, but I really don't think it sees any play now, especially in the 3-cost slot.
I agree, reluctantly, because it's like, you look at it and you go, Vol'jin!
But Vol'jin was defense.
Yeah, I know, that's why it's like, Vol'jin, don't attack, and then you just gotta stop and you go, wait, no. Now, if you want to be a really tricky little son of a gun, you can play this. You can combo it with Cabal Shadow Priest. And just go, and I'll give that thing to attack, and then I'll just take it from your board. Now I just sit over here and laugh maniacally. Mwahahaha. But as far as it goes, I don't think it sees very much play. So I'm going to scoot over to the Woe Cleaver. This is your warrior legendary weapon. After your hero attacks, recruit a minion is the effect. It's an 8-cost, 3 attack, 3 durability. I don't have any Bowsers. Because it's just, like, Gorehowl is your control warrior weapon. This thing, I'm just, yeah, I can recruit a minion. Cool. Do I want to run my deck minion heavy, or do I want to try to be able to control the board with, like, spells and everything else like that? But what do?
This doesn't go into control warrior. This goes into a more minion-focused warrior, like a mid-range warrior with probably a heavy in-game. And Woe Cleaver essentially acts as like a mini Yasharj or Yasharaj. Basically the attack and the durability is not why it costs 8. It costs 8 because of the recruit, and it's a weapon you can attack with. And in that sense, that you can attack with it, and that I actually think that the recruit mechanic actually attached to this weapon is good in a mid-range type of deck. I think this is a good weapon. You just think of it in terms of you charge, and there you go. It's not meant to control the board. It's meant to summon the weapon. It's meant to summon a minion. And when you think of it in that terms, you plainly see, number one, the cost means it's not going to be an aggro, and number two, the low attack means it's not going to be in control. You're basically recruiting a minion with it. It's a mid-range weapon. It's actually pretty good, but again, it needs to be in the right deck. And I do think that Warrior has the tools to make that kind of deck if they really want to. Next up, we have Rock Delar, which is the Hunter legendary weapon. It's a 7-cost 4/2 with the battle cry. If your deck has no minions, fill your hand with Hunter spells. Number one, let's just get the main.
Can I?
I'll let you rant. I'm just going to say real quick though that I don't think that the stat line is good enough for 7-cost weapon, and I don't think that the battle cry works in Hunter. Rant away.
This is the first card I've actually had the thing of just looking at, and I'm just going, why? Why? What the fuck are you doing, Blizzard? Because if anything, like, I have looked at every single Hunter card that has come out. And it's just been one of those things where it's like, I've been attempting to be optimistic, or at least attempting to just go, okay, maybe this is something that you can do with it, and this is something that you could potentially go in with, and I'm just looking at this weapon, and I'm like, okay, this is a legendary weapon that Hunter has. It's not been revealed yet. Now it's revealed, and it's about to cry, and if your deck is a minion, you fill your hand with spell. Why? Why? Hunter does not do spell crap. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. The class identity is, I'm going to go aggro and punch you in the face as hard as I possibly can, as fast as I possibly can. You going in this direction of, oh hey, let's go control, or oh hey, let's go potentially death rattle, or oh hey, let's go with this no minions in the deck, because why the not? Why? Why? I freaking can't! I bloody literally can't with this thing! I can't! I'm gonna just kick it back to Bob at this point and just go, why?
Here's the thing. This weapon is bad for the same reason To My Side was bad. The same reason we said it. Now, Eddie kind of talked about class identity. Hunter is a more aggressive class. They're more about rushing you down, which makes sense for a Hunter. They're more about rushing you down. Even if they're not about rushing you down, they are definitely more minion-focused than any of the other classes. So that's about controlling the board with your own board, having minions on the board and contesting the board. Control. That's why Control Hunter hasn't been able to work, because it's so minion focused. You can't give them super duper really good spells because they're not that type of class. You need to be focusing on weapons or just really good minions. Death Rattle can work. We saw it in the past that Hunter could actually run a good Death Rattle deck, and with the right tools, I think Death Rattle can work again. Secrets can work, I guess, but again, it needs a lot of support because Hunter really struggles in the spell area. So basically forcing Hunter to build a deck with no minions, especially when their spells aren't good enough to be a control-based class, is essentially a recipe for disaster. It does not fit into what Hunter wants to do. It will feel so alien to people playing Hunters. And Rock Delar is just not good enough of a weapon to entice you to try it. This card is garbage, because for that reason, that is ignoring everything that what Hunter wants to do, and worse than any other card we've seen before. You good, Eddie? You need a moment?
First card I have had to basically explode on.
And how many reviews have we done at this point?
Dark Pact. 1 cost. Warlock spell. Destroy a friendly minion. Restore 8 health to your hero. Meta-defining card. You hit your possessed villager with it. You hit one of your smaller end zoo minions with it that you're not going to use anymore. It's good. Ball.
Yeah, this is a very good card. This essentially fits into what Warlock wants to do. It restores a massive amount of health, which is going to help Warlock if it's life tapping a lot, or if it's playing minions with downsides. As Eddie said, destroying a friendly minion, this allows you to pretty much pinpoint and be strategic with what minion you kill. There's a lot that you can do with it, a lot that you can combo off of that possibility if you do things correctly. It's just a very solid card. It will see a lot of play. It is meta-defining. Next up, we have Flanking Strike, which is a 4-cost hunter spell that says deal 3 damage to minion, summon a 3/3 wolf. This is actually a very good card. Again, it's going to summon a minion, which is going to give Hunter board control, which is what they need. 3 damage is nice, but the combination of 3 damage, dealing 3 damage to minion, and summoning 3/3 wolf is just very good. I think Hunter plays this.
I can concur with that. Because if anything, it just plays to its active, actual class identity. Unlike the fucking legendary weapon!
Calm down, Eddie. Calm down.
This card is a card that you play, or at least you print, for Hunter. This is I would say, a more proper card that would be relevant to the class identity, because you can just go control the board real quick to get rid of this threat, and then I get a beast on board. Are we good on Flanking Strike?
No, but we are good. Yeah, we are going to Flanking Strike. Sorry, I got all mixed up.
Because we get to go to Kobold Barbarian. 3-cost 4/4 warrior. At the start of your turn, attack a random enemy. Why? Like, what? Why? Who? What? Bulb? Help!
I mean, that's what Warrior wanted, right? I mean, who cares about you choosing who to attack or what to attack? Let's just have the computer figure it out. No, it's not going to see play. Next up, we have Sleepy Dragon. It's a 9-cost 4/12 dragon with taunt. That's nice. I mean, everybody knows they want to play a Sleepy Dragon instead of an actual big dragon that's going to cost about 9 mana. I can't see it seeing play, especially with something like, if you want a dragon with taunt, you play Primordial Drake. It's beefy enough on its own, and it does a 2 damage AoE to everything. It's a 4/12 with taunt. No, it's not going to see play. I don't think it's going to see play.
Arena.
In Arena,
That's about it. Arena. That's where I find its home. That's about the biggest place I would find it. Because if you're in Constructed, and you have Ysera, you're playing fucking Ysera over Sleepy Dragon. So...
Or Alexstrasza, or
play No Storm for that matter. Moving on to Cave Hydra. 3-cost, 2/4 Hunter Beast. Also damages the minions next to whomever this attacks. Again, I ask why. I mean, I understand that this card could be used for control, like board control and stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be pretty nice. But, no. I don't think, realistically, it sees play. Bulb?
I actually think it's decent. The stat line is not bad for 3, especially with the effect. This could be good to get rid of a few tiny things to help you keep board control. Especially if you can buff up his attack, you can have fun with it later on. I think this is definitely a consideration for a more mid-range hunter. So I do think it might see some play. I think it's good. I think it's decent. Compared to a lot of other things Hunter has, I guess that just depends. That might not make it see play. But I do think it's not bad. Like, I really don't think it's bad. You know, this isn't an egregious, you know, example of, oh, it's going against a class identity. It's actually not. It's a beast with solid stats for 3 that can, you know, deals damage to multiple things. Basically, it can go face if you want to, but if it doesn't go face, it can help clear out some things on the board so that your other things can go face. It's decent. mean, I don't think we're arguing, you know, this will be see play in every deck, or this is a thing that we'll see play in every deck, whatever. I mean, we're just judging the merits of cards here. And just because a card is decent doesn't mean that it's good. It necessarily means you have to include it in the deck. I just think that it can be a good inclusion into a deck depending on what your needs are. And I don't think this is something to just sneer at, because I do think that the stat line is decent. And I do think the effect's decent. I just think you're on I think you're on legendary weapon high right now.
No, I'm just more or less looking at it. I'm just going, I just don't know.
I mean, granted, there's Bear Shark. You're not really going to beat Bear Shark, but I mean, in certain decks, you know, this could be useful. And even if you don't put it into deck, if you randomly get it, you're not going to go, oh man, I got a Cave Hydra. You're like, well, okay, I can use it. Last for this round, we have Astral Tiger, which is a 4-cost 3/5 Druid minion. With the Death Rattle, shuffle a copy of this minion into your deck. This is actually pretty solid. This has the oh, what's the name of that card? What was that Druid Legendary?
Which one?
It's the deer.
Oh, I hate you because I know this came from Malorn?
Malorn. This Astral Tiger has the Malorn effect, and that's actually a pretty decent effect. 3/5 for 4, not bad at all. I think this will see some play. I think maybe a mid-range Druid, maybe in Token Druid, they might consider playing this again because it just comes back. I just think this is a very solid minion. I think it will see play in some sort of deck. Maybe we have to wait a while to get that deck. Maybe that deck has to be invented. But I do think this is a very solid card that will see play over time.
I wrestle with this card because you mentioned Malorn, and I'm like, okay, I see where you're going with this, and I'm like, okay. I look at the death rattle of it, and I'm just like, I will never fill out do. Because it dies, and it goes back in the deck. And then, you can run 2 of it, so both of them, they die, and they go back into the deck. I'm okay with it. I especially like it for Arena, if anything, but, as far as, the standard side goes, I don't know if it would really see play on that side. There's potential for it, so I'll give it that. It has potential.
And that's about it. That's about it for the next round. Tune in next time. We still have many more cards to go over, and we'll just see you then.
Bye.